Good morning. I am Mark Oliver Kalumba, and I will be reporting on Module 1 for DEVC 208. And my topic today is trends and issues in defining development. Just as a quick recap, the first section of this module tackled on the meaning and nature of development and how it is described as a multidimensional, multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and an integrative process. Our topics that we're going to cover today would include people centered development versus a comparative to production centered development, along with the details and comparisons. And later on, I will also show you a tabular format comparing both. Let's talk about people centered development versus production centered development. Um, Production centered development is pretty much an older term coined in post World War II, where the world defined development as the increase in gross national product. This denotes that development is purely economic in nature, where the GNP is equal to the total value of all goods and services produced by the residents and businesses of a country, irrespective of the location of production. The drivers of such include countries ravaged by war aiming to rebuild, and the adjustment from colonial rule to independent statehood, where government trends to measure improvements via economic data. Development definition evolved with the passing of time. What the prior definition in the past of development were primarily production centered, where you'll see the boom in industrialization and manufacturing plants are established everywhere, and that is the main source of economic growth. Today, definitions of development seek to realize people centered development, where the total feeling of fulfillment in life is the gauge of development. On our course outline and course resource, there's a tabular form taken from Corton and Claus in 1984, where they put together side by side production oriented development and people centered development. We'll start off with the logic on production oriented environment or development. Exploitation of natural resources to produce greater amounts of goods and services and create massive consumer societies to absorb them. That typically is the downside of production oriented development. If you go to people centered development, the goal is to enhance human growth and well being, equity and sustainability, and balanced human ecology. In terms of the second row on delivery mechanism, production-oriented development shows that large organizations or corporations and bureaucracies maximizing throughput via centrally controlled, functionally defined, and globally linked processes, which actually led to industrial revolution. As you take a look into people-centered development, individuals are actors defining goals, controlling resources, and directing processes that affect their lives. Local initiative and participation, like self organization systems built around human scales, organizational units, and self reliant communities. The objectives of production oriented development, in the meantime, is basically economic growth with human well being as byproduct. It is also the creation of wealth by a trickle down effect on social welfare. However, on people centered development, human growth in realizing potential is key that would lead to high quality of life, which is also a community welfare first mindset, along with economic surplus as a byproduct. Further definition of people centered development upholds the well being of man as its top priority. It looks quality of life rather than quantity of economic production. Economic growth shown by statistics is not a measure of success in people-centered development. Further research on the topic concerned shows the domains of the quality of life. Um, we can summarize that in 3 bullet points. Number one, it's a long and healthy life. We are able to provide good education. And the third bullet shows decent standard of living. The table on the right would show you um, some more definitions or benchmarks of a good quality of life. The first section, the being domain, includes the basic aspects of who he is, would be subcategories of physical being, psychological being, and spiritual being. So, on the physical aspect, the ability to get around, the ability to have good nutrition and the food to eat. The psychological being is being free of worry and stress and the mood I am usually in, while spiritual being would show having hope for the future, having my own ideas of right and wrong. When it comes to the second category of the quality of life, showing belonging includes persons fit with the environment, also includes the physical component of the house or apartment I live in, the neighborhood I live in, while social well being is being sociable and being close to people in the family, having a spouse or a special person. Community belonging, meanwhile, would also mean being able to get professional services, easy access to medical and social help, and having enough money as a benchmark. The third aspect of quality of life, becoming, refers to the purposeful activities carried out to achieve personal goals, hopes, and wishes. Unpractical becoming is doing things around my house, working at a job, or going to school. Again, it ties up to long and healthy life and good education and decent standard of living. On leisure becoming, being able to do outdoor activities at will, exercise, walking, and cycling, along with enjoying the leisures of life. While growth becoming is also improving physical health and fitness and being able to cope up with changes in my life. So the domains of people centered development satisfies the three components of long and healthy life, good education, and a decent standard of living as a measure of success. And I hope that you learned a lot from these two topics. The resources that I used are outlined here on the last slide of my presentation. And I hope we all have a great journey in this new course, DEVC 208. Thank you so much, everybody.